Hey, it's your Las Vegas poker coach. On this podcast, we take a professional mindset to talk about poker and make some money at the game we all love. I invite you to listen in as we talk strategy, casinos, and life in general. Thanks for tuning in. Hey everybody, it's the LV Poker Coach back with you again. Thanks for listening. Hey, before we continue, please do me a favor and click on the like and subscribe in whatever player you're using. It really helps out the channel, helps the channel grow, so appreciate you taking the time to do that. So today we're going to do a little bit more of a fun episode, and this episode we're going to go through what I carry in my poker bag whenever I play a live session. I think this is kind of a fun little thing to do, and people really don't talk about this. You see people who carry backpacks and things like that. In my opinion, some people carry bags that are way too big. What could you possibly need? So I'm going to give a little rundown of what's in my bag. I use a pretty small bag, just a little small crossbody bag. So I'll give you a rundown what's in there. Things that I use, things that I find helpful, and we'll kind of go from there. Now, the reason I like to carry a bag is because I want to be prepared for anything that happens at the table. Anytime you're out of the house, anytime you're kind of, among other people, you want to make sure you have a couple of things that are ready to go with you. And that's what I do, especially when I put in 6-hour sessions. I don't want to be interrupted. I don't want to be having to run home because I forgot something or because I need something to be comfortable, whatever the case may be. I want to be ready. I used a tactical bag for a long time, like a shoulder tactical bag, and that was really good because tactical bags tend to be very heavy duty. So they kind of lasted, with me bumping it and carrying it and tossing it in the car, putting it on the back of a chair, so on and so forth. They were very handy that way. They really didn't wear out. So I used that for a very, very long time. But now, kind of like in the modern times, let's say, they have these bags that are made of like these rubberized materials, and that's what I use. They're particularly popular among European designers. So I use a small crossbody bag by Porsche Design, and it's got like that rubber exterior, so it holds up pretty well to any number of things. Whether I'm taking it in and out of the car, carrying it into different poker rooms, or it's raining or whatever. It's a nice little rubberized bag that I use, and it helps keep me comfortable. It helps keep me going during sessions, and I'd like to show you what's inside. Okay, so here we go. Here's a rundown of everything that's in my bag. The main reason I carry a bag is because I also use it a lot for bankroll management. So I always carry a small portion of my bankroll in my bag. The bigger part of my bankroll is in the bank, in my savings account, in a separate savings account. But I carry a small portion of the bankroll with me just for kind of my everyday use. But more importantly, whenever I get chips from the cage or when I first buy in, I always buy in for more than what I intend to use. That way I can put some chips in my bag and I can restack my chips as I see fit. Now, this kind of plays into the whole thing of how you kind of manage yourself at the table and how you manage your stack. So that's a whole other topic, and I might make a podcast on that. Let me know if that's a topic you'd find interesting. But for me, I like to always have 100 big blinds in front of me. Like, no matter what happens, I always want to start the hand with 100 big blinds. So obviously, your stack is going to fluctuate, especially if you go down early or whatever. So the primary reason for my bag is to have extra chips in there. So if I take a beat or I'm below 100 big blinds, I just reach into my bag, put some chips on top, and I'm back to 100 big blinds. So that's really like the biggest benefit that I get from a bag. I can have chips in there ready to go. Don't have to get up. Don't have to call anybody. As soon as the next hand is dealt, I have 100 big blinds in front of me and I'm ready to go. So that's really why I use it. The next thing I carry is I carry a small notebook and pen, because it's always good to write down memorable hands or other notes. You know, you're going to meet people, maybe you take down their phone number or whatever. I like to have a small notebook to help me take down hands. And it doesn't have to be anything fancy. I use a small Moleskine. It's, you know, maybe it's one of their smaller models. It's maybe like 3 inches by 5 inches. And I have a small pen. I use the Pilot G2 Mini. It's a very small pen, so it fits in any bag. It can practically fit in your pocket if you really needed to. But always carry a notebook and pen to help you write down the hands. Some of the hands that I bring you in some of my updates are done via that way. I also carry extra player cards from the casino that I'm at. You know, you're bound to build up a stack of them over time. You know, sometimes you lose a player card or whatever. I don't like waiting in lines to go to the players club, all the other stuff. If I have an extra card with me, great, I can just go ahead and use it and I'm done. So it's really handy to carry some extra cards there. I also carry some contact cards with my name, my phone number, my email address, and I give these to people that I meet that are just interesting. You know, for me, part of the perks of being a professional poker player is that you get to meet people, especially in Las Vegas. In Las Vegas, I get to meet people from all over the U.S., all over the world. I've made some great friends. You know, and nowadays with WhatsApp, you know, everybody can call everybody, right? So I give people my card and they call me while they're still in town and, hey, let's go to lunch. I'm going to be playing over here. Do you want to, you know, you can make so many good friends in poker this way. And I've done that and it's been really fantastic. I love that part of playing poker. So I carry some contact cards. You know, I give them out to people. Hey, you know, let's hang out. Here's my number. And sometimes people contact you, sometimes they don't. But, you know, it's kind of nice to be able to have that opportunity because, again, I think it's just one of the great things about being a poker player. I also carry a small bottle of hand sanitizer. Pretty standard nowadays, I think, considering everything we've been through. And then I also have a little personal care bag. What I do is I've taken like a little, one of those little bags they give you in business class. You know, if you fly business class internationally, they give you these little, like, you know, amenity kits. So I've taken everything out of that amenity kit and I make that my personal bag. In there, I have like nail clippers and tweezers. You know, to me, poker is a very tactile game. You know, we work with our hands. So I don't want to be caught with like a hangnail or, you know, a dirty nail or anything else. I like to keep my hands clean when I play poker, you know, clean and feeling good. So I always carry some nail clippers. I carry some tweezers in case I need them, just to kind of, you know, have my hands clean and professional looking. I also put in some dental picks in there, you know, because if I eat lunch or something gets stuck in my teeth, that's one of my pet peeves. I hate having things in my teeth. It's just, it just bothers me so much. So I have some dental picks in there where I can quickly floss and quickly get out any food things, you know, that are stuck in my mouth. So it's pretty handy. I also have a mask, you know, that also, again, goes with a hand sanitizer. I'm still willing to wear a mask at the table. I don't always do it often, but, you know, sometimes you run into people that are rudely coughing or things like that. So I will pull out my mask and I will wear it at the table. I have no problems breathing in it. So, you know, I like to do that to avoid getting sick. As far as my phone and charging, I carry 2 things. I carry a long charging cable, because you never know when you know, the port at your table, your particular seat is going to be working. You're going to need to extend it out. So I carry I believe it's a 8-foot USB cable, maybe even longer than that. But, you know, just something so that, you know, if I have to use a different port or something, I can go ahead and use it. Now, here's something else that's important. I also carry my own battery pack, because I don't always like to rely on USB ports. You know, a couple of months ago, the FBI put out a report that really wasn't broadly spread out, but the FBI put out a report that there are bad actors out there that make USB ports public, and then they're stealing the data from your phone without you even knowing it. They have software that allows them to be charging your phone and transferring files with no notice to you. So they have advised against public USB ports. So I either try to plug in my phone into like an actual, electricity receptacle, or I carry my own battery pack. And battery packs are relatively cheap on Amazon. They kind of have any number of prices. You can get as fancy as you want with it, but some of them are very affordable. So I always like to carry my own battery pack that I can plug into, and I know that my data is safe that way. I also carry some Bud earphones, but as some of you know from listening to my other podcasts, I do not use earphones at the table. I like to keep myself aware and engaged in the game. I only carry them in case, I'm waiting for a game and I want to listen to some music, or I take a break and I want to listen to music, or I need to make a phone call. I go ahead and, use my headphones away from the table. But I just carry them more as like a need for those things, not because I'm bored and I want to listen to music at the table. I never do that. Finally, I also carry a snack in there. I will talk about this in other podcasts, but I am on the keto diet. I'm very strict with the keto diet, so my choices of snacks are limited. Even most beef jerkies have too much sugar in them or too many other bad ingredients in them. So I am careful about what I carry, but I do try to have a little snack in there. And then I also carry some electrolyte powder because in addition to plain water, I do also like water with electrolytes in it. With obviously with a special sugar-free electrolyte combination that's keto safe. So I do carry that to kind of help me keep feeling good, because I think electrolytes can help your body feel good. You feel not so great when you're depleted in them. So I carry those with me, and it kind of just helps me get through my poker day. And finally, there are some non-traditional things that I carry with me in the in my poker bag, or just kind of for my poker day. Maybe these things don't always go in my bag, but I also always carry a voice recorder so that I can bring you these podcasts. I have multiple recording devices for this podcast. One of them is a handheld recorder, battery operated, that I can take with me anywhere. So sometimes I might stop in the middle of a session to make notes, or I'll include a session note in one of my poker play reports. So I do always carry a little voice recorder with me. And also just maybe kind of make notes to myself if I want to remind myself of something. So it's very handy for that. I also carry a bottle of water. I may carry multiple bottles of water. I might carry a bottle of water for the ride to the casino, depending on how far away the casino is. Where I live, it can be it's really at least an hour to casino. Some casinos are 2 hours. For example, if I want to go to Parks, that's a little bit over an hour. If I want to go to Atlantic City, that's definitely over 2 hours, I believe. So yeah, it's you can get dehydrated quite a bit just on the ride there. So sometimes I'll carry 2 bottles. I'll finish one on the ride there, and then I'll carry one with me to start the session. And I hate to sound terrible and, cheapskate about this, but sometimes I do bring my own water because, tipping the waitress for a 6-ounce water bottle kind of adds up over time. You don't think of it that way. And if you're a recreational player, you shouldn't think about it. Tip the waitress as much as you want and drink as much water as you want. But when you're a professional and you're in there and you're playing every day, you're in and out of casinos, it adds up. So it's not that I don't order or that I don't tip the waitress. It's just that I can at least help myself a little bit by walking into the session with my own bottle and then kind of going from there. And then finally, this is also very important. I never play any poker session without logging it in my records. Obviously, I do that for tax purposes, but you also have to do that to be honest with yourself and to really know where your game is at. Where is your bankroll? are you actually winning? Because if you're not winning and you're not playing a professional level of poker, you need to be honest with yourself about that. So I want to include that in here because it's one of my critical tools. I do always log my sessions. I always have the app on my phone ready. I log my buy-ins, my rebuys, the time at the table, my breaks away from the table, my tips to both the dealers and staff and meals. So, I take that holistic pro approach that includes managing your money and the way you spend it. So I wanted to include this in this list. It's my last item on the list, but it's a critical one. It may not always be in my bag. It's an app on my phone, but it's definitely a critical part of my play, and something that I think everybody should do as far as logging their sessions. Okay, so that's my list. What's yours? Go ahead and tell me in the comments or send me a note. I'm on all socials, LV Poker Coach, all one word. Or you can visit me on my website where I have curated articles from the world of poker at lvpokercoach.com. Look forward to hearing from you. Hey, let's keep the conversation going. You can reach me on all socials at LV Poker Coach, all one word, on Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube.